Why, hello there. We are live. Pretty early in the morning here, 8:02, where I currently live. And what is up? 1 second, please. Hold on, that's my face. Let me fix that. There we go. Wow, okay. What's up? Yeah, so I have a new setup now. I am currently working off of a new computer, new camera, new, well, not new, but a different microphone. So this beginning part here I've been setting up for like the past like 20-25 minutes here. So forgive me if there was any delay, but I know that already I was early anyway. I usually stream at 10, and today, or right now, it's far earlier. So yeah, you know, new setup. Obviously, you can tell all around me here that there's a new background behind the camera here. I don't know. It's still like a work in progress, I think. I might change some shit down the line, but yeah, I have a microphone plugged in right here. Hold on. Okay. I have a microphone plugged into me right here on my left-hand side. You can't see it, but I'm hoping to get something different in terms of that. Maybe get a better microphone, but yeah, we'll see. Anyway, let me turn this down, actually. 1 moment. No, not that. Right here. Nope, that's not what I want either. Actually, I can just go like this. Alright. Hold on. Are we good? We Gucci? I think we are. Okay. Yeah, so, lots to talk about this morning. I should probably tell people I'm streaming. Hold on. Okay. I gotta actually set up for a couple things here. Oh, shit. Oh, yeah. Hold on, there's a couple. To get some stuff out of the way, I guess. Okay, I'm sorry. I need to express my dissatisfaction with this. It's a moral obligation. Yeah. I saw this. Yeah, I saw this. Oh, shit. This is like the most like out of place thing I might have ever seen. And it's obviously like this, like, so this is Sarah Huckabee, if you don't know, but she used to be the former press secretary, I think, for the Trump administration. She replaced Sean Spicer, who was the press secretary, I think, at the beginning. But like, I know eventually she changed roles or left, or even before Trump left office. But yeah, this is like the most out of place picture, you know. Oh man, and she like, I don't even know what to say. Like, it's so like, I don't know. I wonder if she's like gonna try to like run in the future. Seems like she will. Like, and I mean like run for president or something. Seems like she will. We'll see, I guess. She just doesn't look like she belongs there. She also, hold on. She also like released a video. Oh, sorry. Hold on. There we go. She also released a... Yeah, right here. This was in response to like to the State of the Union address, which we're not going to cover today. But yeah, I didn't like actually see this, but I read that thing right here.
We are under attack in a left-wing culture war we didn't start and never wanted to fight.
Yeah, the idea here is to blame everything that happened as far as the culture war is concerned on Democrats, as if they were the ones who spawned this outrage of regarding trans people. You know, I don't know. It's like, well, it seems like projection here.
Every day we are told we must partake in their rituals, salute their flags, and worship their false idols.
They're literally describing themselves right there. Like, it's just so projection. Holy shit. Like, guys, do you know that, like, conservatives freak the fuck out? Like, do you guys remember when they freaked the fuck out about Kaepernick kneeling during the anthem? So there's your saluting the flags. Their false idols, you can attribute that to Donald Trump. Their rituals, I mean, not all of them, but a lot of them are also religious zealots. So this is just like major projection. Jesus Christ, dude.
All while big government colludes with big tech to strip away the most American thing there is, your freedom of speech.
It's funny that they like claim to be pro freedom of speech when they literally pass like anti-protest laws. It's just like, and also are like actually burning books. Well, not literally, but like they're like metaphorically burning books in like Florida and shit. So yeah, I mean, it's like it's like major protection here. Oh shit. Yeah, Huckabee is or not Huckabee. What am I saying? Wait, what's her name again? It's Sarah Huckabee, right? I'm not. Yeah. Okay, yeah. Yeah, there's two Huckabees, and I guess conflated the two. I'm interested in this clip too. Hold on. This is from Candace Owens. One moment, please. Okay. Yeah, let's take a look at this. Yeah. Okay, let's just watch this.
Lives Matter protesters decided to occupy the Oklahoma Capitol building to fight GOP bills that ban gender-conforming surgery for people.
Oh yeah. Okay, so if you're unaware, there were protests that took place in the state of Oklahoma specifically, in the Capitol building with regards to the passing or the proposing thereof legislation regarding banning gender-affirming care. There were chants, there was basically just protests inside the building itself. I can show the video actually, because I believe I shared it. I thought I covered this last week, maybe not. Sorry, one moment. I'm gonna have to just look for really quickly. Here we go. Based. I agree. This is good, obviously. Like, unobjectively, this is, like, really good. It's also, interesting that... Well, let's see exactly what Candace Owens, her angle here is going to be. Because conservatives are now straddling this line between posturing as, like, small government, while also having to, like, pass legislation that bans, like, medical procedures, so, yeah, I'm interested to see how this plays out.
People that are under the age of 21. So, of course, that should be banned if you're under the age of 21. You should not be, honestly, you should never be allowed. I would go a little further. Oklahoma, if you really want to do something, just ban it altogether.
Yeah, this is not a surprising take. by Candace Owens, people at the Daily Wire, especially, are very genocidal. So, with regards to trans people, especially, I mean, ultimately, and I say this like every single stream, but it's true and remains true every single time I say it. Conservatives are just genocidal against trans people by trying to ban gender-affirming care. This is obviously an attempt at preventing people from actually transitioning, from feeling comfortable within their own bodies, or more comfortable within their own bodies, and ultimately they just want the state oppression of this minority group. So it's funny though that these people like posture as small government, like every which way, right? And then they turn around and they try to pass legislation that infringes upon the freedoms of other people. This is no business whatsoever with anybody except for the medical practitioners and the patients. And also, I love how they conservatives specifically leave out the very notion of medical consent, or there is an age by which, once you reach that age, and I believe the age in most states is like 12 or something, where you can give like consent to certain medical procedures, and I believe that that should be, if it isn't already the case, that should be the case for like gender affirming care.
But trans people were very upset, and they decided to storm the Capitol building.
Wait, you know what's fun? Yeah, I think I think they're rightfully upset to be the fact that the government is trying to literally ban, trans healthcare. I think that's a reasonable thing to be upset about if I'm a trans person.
Take a look.
Oh, they're gonna. Okay, we just watched this, but yeah. Also, I love that she tried to create a dichotomy between this and like January 6th, when the premise behind January 6th was to overturn the democratic election results. And right here, and using violence, by the way. And right here, all you're seeing is people occupying a Capitol building chanting, no violence, no property violence, that we see right here. And it's all with regards to advancing personal liberty and freedom.
So I'm just going to come right out and say this because it needs to be said. I have such great contempt for trans individuals and everything that they are doing. Like,
dude, you gotta be a little more subtle, okay? I mean, I know you guys are like, you guys, I know everybody can see that you hate trans people just by your actions. We get that, but like, I don't know, the subtlety here, I feel like we're moving into an era where conservatives are just like becoming way less subtle, more overt in their fascism. So, I mean, like, I don't know, it's just interesting, I guess.
Right now in our society, to me, I've yet to meet a trans person that I thought was a good individual. Go ahead, you can use that clip verbatim, circulate it, George Soros and your goons, because somebody needs to say it.
And you gotta appeal to those Nazis, in your audience, the whole George Soros call out there, of course. Very beautiful, very amazing there.
Gone on far enough, right? They are hateful, narcissistic human beings. It's very obviously.
Do they know what narcissism means? Because advocating for trans healthcare, something that is, or trying to prevent the passing of legislation that would restrict your freedom to pursue the gender that you want to identify with, how is that indicative of like narcissism? Do they like? I see this tossed around constantly by like conservatives. Do they actually understand what that term means? Like in any sense of the word? It doesn't seem like they do. Just based upon the context in which they use that word.
It's very obvious that they hate women, that they are misogynists at their core. I'm talking about men that put on lipstick and say, not only that they're a woman, mocking us to our faces, saying, I'm a woman, I'm just like you, I can do whatever you want.
I don't know if that's ever happened, ever. I don't think a trans woman is going up to cis woman with lipstick and saying, I am a woman, you have to treat me this way, and you have to use these pronouns, and if you don't, I will cancel you. Like, I really doubt that's happening on a large scale. Most trans women, incidentally, I think, if I'm just gonna spitball here, want to be affirmed in their gender and be left alone. If I were to guess, I don't know, maybe. They want to be affirmed in their gender socially, culturally, and so forth. But they also want to be left alone from the government. They don't want the government to infringe upon their rights, which makes sense. I also think that's bad.
But then taking it a step further in their misogyny and demanding rights, two things that we have, right? Saying not only...
So this is a turf talking point. Incidentally, this also can overlap with Nazis. And the reason why I say this is because this is the premise that she's laying out here is basically that men are invading women's spaces and this is a form of misogyny, and they are trying to invade women's spaces to, I guess, control it or to inflict whatever kind of patriarchal shit they want to. I understand that Candace Owens rejects, I believe, the concept of patriarchy, but regardless, she may not. I don't know for sure, I guess. But at the end of the day, this is kind of like a turf talking point. The fact that men are pretending to be women to invade women's spaces. Yeah.
Only am I you, I'm a better version of you. I will crush you in your sports. I will do everything that I can to ruin your career. If you think that there's something wrong with this, a la what's happened to J.K. Rowling and people demanding that she has her career stripped from her because she doesn't consent to this. She doesn't consent to being made obsolete by this insidious agenda, right? Not only will I do all of this, but then I will start to march in your Capitol buildings and I will demand even more rights. I will demand...
Wait, hold on. They're not demanding more rights. Wait, hold on. So what they're doing is protesting against the passage of legislation that would restrict their freedom. That's what's happening. Because hold on. The legislation that is being passed, okay, is legislation that would restrict their freedom. It is legislation that would prevent the affirmation of their gender, gender-affirming care. It is banning gender-affirming care. So this is not advocating for more rights. This is advocating for equal rights with cisgender people.
And the rights that we can start in the classrooms, training up children to be brainwashed, to believe that they can pick their gender, to go under these procedures as young as possible, to go through with having their breasts removed, to do these hormone therapies. These people are demonic.
Okay. Cool. Cool beans. Speaking of demonic. One moment, please. Speaking of demons, okay. I have something for you. We're returning back to fucking the 1980s. Throwback, baby. Oh, shit, hold on. I have a couple. Actually, I have two here I want to show. Hold on. Don't mind them. Let me go see if they... Hold on, let me go see if someone's at the door. No one's there, but they are barking. I think they bark when they see, like, a reflection in the in the window. They bark like at everything. It's kind of annoying. Okay, let's stay on track here. Demons. Demons are something that doesn't exist. Satan is something that does not exist. But nonetheless, it seems like we're going to be returning back to the Satanic Panic in a very micro sense here, because conservatives are very concerned about the representation of like hell and shit. That was displayed at the Grammys. And they also were very upset at, I think, at a Lil Nas video that represented the devil. This was a while back, but recently, with the Grammys, there was a performance where there was a lot of Satan and hell aesthetics associated with the performance itself. So let me just show really quick. And I'm not going to, like, play the audio because I don't want to, like, be DMCA'd or something. But yeah, this is it. Oh, shit. Yeah, you can see. Right here, you know, hell, fire, red, you know, red equals Hitler, red equals devil, red equals, Satan, red equals everything that they don't like, basically. And if you think I'm exaggerating, then look no further than Matt Walsh's tweet here. One of the, you know, larger voices in the conservative community, online conservative community. It's not surprising to see a satanic ritual at the Grammys. Satanism is the worship of self. Much of modern pop music is satanic. Leftism is Satanism. The only change is that now they're being more explicit about it. Which is... Oh, wait, hold on. He goes on. Theological Satanism is not very common, but the worship of the self, what we might call secular Satanism, is a predominant religion in our culture, and the most of art we produce is meant to preach this gospel. This is objectively incorrect. Excuse me. The theology commonly adopted by America, or the United States, is specifically Christianity. Secular Satanism is not close at all. Satanism is more so, in my opinion, and I could be wrong, it's more so, in my opinion, about rebel culture. It's more so about, like, the rejection of, like, theology itself, or religion itself. It's I guess in a word, it's more, I think, when I think of Satanism, or people who adopt, like, you know, who are Satanists or whatever, I think of them just as, like, aggressive atheists. And, yeah, I don't know. I just don't really see it, like, as a cult thing. Certainly there could be cults out there, you know, with Satan at the, you know, as the main, like, apostle or whatever. But, like, generally speaking, I believe that it's not, like, a large-scale thing that people, like, believe, right? But it's just interesting interesting that the description here of leftism is Satanism, and he says that it's a worship of the self, which is interesting. I don't really understand exactly what he means, because it seems a little vague here, but I know that like, leftism is about maximizing personal freedom and liberty. So if he believes that Satanism is about the worship of the self, I think the word worship doesn't make a lot of sense. But in a way, in a really weird way, he might be accidentally correct here. But it doesn't matter. He's obviously meaning this in a pejorative sense, that leftism is Satanism. Basically, everything he doesn't like is, like, Satanism. Yeah, I can't speak today. Everything he doesn't like is Satanism, I guess. And there were some interesting responses as well from other rando people, I guess. I believe the Turkish earthquake occurred about the same time as the Satanic Grammys with this time. But the Satanic Grammys, by the way, literally one performance that probably lasted like 3 minutes. With the time roughly coinciding with this odd signal from the what? Keep your light and vibration high and overpower this week's ritual State of the Union. Man. There seems to be a lot of earthquakes happening right after the satanic ritual at the Grammys last night. Could be just a coincidence or could not. Dude, you know what I notice about like these conspiracy brain shit, like shit brain fucks online is like they always say shit like this and frame it in this way. Like they said, well, this happened and this happened, so that means that this caused that, right? Maybe it's a coincidence. I don't know. It's like I saw this shit with like the Damar Hamlin thing. They all the anti-vaxxers came out of their like fucking like nests out of the woodworks here, trying to associate the his cardiac arrest with the fact that he was vaxxed or something. It was like totally fucked. But yeah, they always frame shit like this, like these conspiracy brain people. God responds to satanic Grammys with Armageddon like earthquakes. Nice. Today is wild. Train derailment, toxic... Oh, we're going to get to this train shit in a moment. Toxic smoke, earthquakes. I'm sure that satanic shit at the Grammys has nothing to do with anything. Pissing on... These people, I honestly gotta think there's like something wrong with them. Like mentally. I really do. Like, if you honest to God believe that there's a connection or a causation between a Grammy performance that had hellish aesthetics and the geological, effects causing earthquakes and the lack of, like, safety precautions that was that was not passed by train companies. If you think that like these things are connected, you're like, I honestly gotta think there's something like mentally wrong with you, like for real. Like zero like critical thinking, zero like I don't know. There like I honestly gotta think it's like a mental illness. Yeah, there's something wrong with these people, I think. Okay. Yeah, I want to get to the, why is Chernobyl trending, actually? Oh, damn. Wait, hold on. We'll take a look at this in a moment. This is where I live. No. Hold on. Sorry, I do have to get to this story because it's a big deal. Let me go to likes. Coffee's already getting cold. That's annoying. We gotta open that up. Oh wow, this is... Okay, this is wild. It's a developing story too. Alright, let's just get into it. Holy shit, this is actually a bigger deal than I thought. Okay, let's just do it. So, alright. Okay, so in the past couple days, there was an accident in Ohio with a train derailment. And we're going to read a little bit into exactly what's going on. So, from A More Perfect Union, on February 3rd, a horrifying railroad accident took place. A Norfolk Southern freight train derailed in East Palestine, Ohio. Huh. I don't know where that is. You might have seen images of the flames, but you probably haven't heard that unions were trying to prevent this exact accident. That's pretty wild. Oh, wow. Okay. Union rail workers with railroad workers have warned of a ticking time bomb, saying, in the last 10 years, Class 1 carriers have dramatically increased both the length and tonnage of the average train while cutting back maintenance and inspection. Hold on. Holy shit. No one was killed. As we approach the 10th year, a major fire rate train wreck in Ohio this past weekend serves a reminder just how potentially dangerous long and heavy trains can be. Add to this the fact that in the last 10 years, the Class 1 carriers have dramatically increased both in length and tonnage. Just like a decade ago, leading to Canadian disaster that destroyed a whole town and took up the lives of 47 people. I didn't know that. While thousands were remained evacuated and property damage to both rail and non-rail property will no doubt soar in millions, we dodged a bullet as no rail this time. Yeah. Okay, let's keep going here. And remember last fall when rail workers were about to strike? They repeatedly expressed that rail company systems of running their lines, which they called precision scheduled railroading, was really about profit maximization at the expense of work and public safety. So, if I remember correctly, I believe that what this is describing is like these it's describing like these long shifts, and just trying to maximize the amount of labor that the railroad companies can extract from these operators and technicians or what have you. Yeah, I don't know. I don't remember exactly, but I do recall reading about this. Even more fundamental, excuse me, even more fundamental to the union agreement was and is that railroads are trying to run these complex operations with fewer and fewer workers. They've cut 2022. Wow, I can't speak today. 22% of jobs since 2017. This approach, which the wealthy owners bill as efficiency, really means an overworked workers. Yeah, so cutting your payroll by this amount obviously is going to be beneficial in terms of the bottom line for these owners. So that makes sense that it's more so about extracting as much wealth as humanly possible. Overburning exhausted workers means more dangerous situations for the folks making our trains run on no days off and no sick leave. Yes, this is also one of the things that the unions were trying to get by the union with that. We covered this, I think, last year sometime on stream, but we went over the fact that these unions were seeking out sick leave because they would be they could potentially be fired if they don't show up to their job if they actually are sick, and they also have long hours and they're away from their families for a long period of time. So like there's all that shit, right? But the main thing they wanted, I believe, from the union contract was sick leave. This makes sense on its face because like if you're sick, you shouldn't like fear like that you're gonna get fired. But I don't believe that was included in the bargaining that ended up taking place. And I actually think that wasn't it this exact union that Biden broke up recently? Yeah, I don't know. Norfolk Southern, the company running the trains that derailed in East Palestine with toxic chemicals on board, brought in over $12 billion in revenue last year. Wow. So they're taking in record profits, but they apparently can't afford to provide sick leave to their workers, which not everybody is going to get sick at the same time, so it's not like that's not that big of a deal. And also, they cut their labor force down anyway by like 22%, so it's really just greed. Additionally, Norfolk also announced that they a new $10 billion stock buyback program last year. This this should further enrage you because stock buybacks are the main way to artificially inflate the price of a company's stock. So, yeah, I don't know. It's just scummy when you are also including the fact that they didn't provide basic sick leave to their workers and also cut the labor force by 22%. And all this money for stock buybacks that line the pockets of rich investors is money that's not being used to improve safety and make the upgrades that unions have been pushing for. And also the union, by the way, that Biden broke up is also it's also money that's not going to exhaust workers. Yep. Not only are rail profits not helping workers, they're instead being used to lobby against regulation. The lever found that rail companies spent big to block stricter safety rules, specifically for trains and hazardous materials like the one in Ohio. So because of lobbying, it resulted in a because of lobbying and the record profits that this company is receiving, it resulted in this fiery bomb. And where there's toxic chemicals were on board as well, so that's even worse. The derailed Ohio train had 20 cars carrying toxic chemicals. They carried out a controlled release of hazardous gas from several tankers at risk of exploding. The fires burned for 5 days. The health risks to the community are unknown. Yeah, we're not going to really understand the health risks for a certain length of time here, I think. It's going to the atmosphere, and by the way, the winds, I believe, are going to carry it further than, obviously, this community, this East Palestine. So, when a train derails and we see images of balls of fire in the sky over Ohio, no, it's not just a freak accident, it's a systemic problem with lucrative... Yeah, that's a really good point, I think. All this could have been avoided if the company had invested in basic safety shit. But now we're seeing the effects that lobbying has upon the safety of a community and also their workers. In this specific instance, thankfully nobody was killed, but like somebody could have been. Shut up. Before this weekend's fair... Oh, I can listen to this article? That's cool.
Rail companies block safety.
Oh, no, I'm not. Okay, I thought it was going to be like an actual narrator. Before this weekend's fire race, Norfolk Southern Trail train prompted emergency evacuations in Ohio. The company helped kill a federal safety rule aimed at upgrading the rail industry's Civil War-era banking systems, according to documents. Damn. I didn't know it was that old. Though the company's 150-car train in Ohio reportedly burst into 100-foot flames upon derailing and was transporting materials that triggered a fireball when they were released and incinerated, it was not being regulated as high-hazard flammable train. Okay. Documents show that when current transportation safety rules were first created, the federal agency sided with industry lobbyists and limited regulations governing the transport of hazardous compounds. That doesn't make sense to me. Hazardous compounds can have long-term... If you want to look at this from an economics perspective, these hazardous compounds can have long-term effects upon the local communities, right? Because if you have certain hazardous chemicals that are being released into the atmosphere, some people who may be higher risk than others can get sick, and those people will die. And if you're only looking at this from an economics perspective, just forget the moral elements here for a moment. By limiting the regulations here, and an accident takes place like what it did here, and all this shit gets released in the atmosphere, you are limiting the amount of people who could have otherwise contributed to the economy. Those are tax dollars that are just like gone at that point, because and this is presuming that these people end up dying or are incapacitated, or hospitalized or whatever, so they're not like working, right? That's an opportunity cost. If we're only looking at it from an economics perspective, which a lot of politicians unfortunately do, then yeah, you're just leaving tax dollars on the bench here. Also, you're infecting the ecology of the area, so you're gonna have to spend money on cleanup and ensuring that you're in accordance with EPA laws and shit. So there's a lot I think that goes into this, and it could have been avoided had they spent one of their many billions of profits. One of their many billions of dollars in profits on just ensuring basic safety precautions. Amid the lobbying blitz against stronger transportation safety regulations, Norfolk Southern paid executive millions and spent billions on stock buybacks. We really need a law, if there isn't one right now. I don't know exactly if there is, but there needs to be a law that limits the amount a company can spend on buybacks. All while the company shed thousands of employees despite warnings that understaffing is intensifying safety risks. Norfolk Southern officials also fought off a shareholder initiative that could have required company executives to assess, review, and mitigate risks of hazardous... This is actually really bad, because you're not even going to allow... These executives aren't even going to allow the, quote, assessment, review, and mitigation like, to mitigate risk of hazardous material. Like, you know, like, you're not even just gonna, like, look at it. You're just gonna pretend it doesn't exist. That's pretty fucked up. The sequence of events began a decade ago in the wake of a major uptick in derailments of trains carrying crude oil and hazardous chemicals, including New Jersey treasure. Damn, okay. In response, the Obama administration in 2014 proposed improving safety regulations for trains carrying petroleum. The final measure ended up narrowly forced on the transport of crude oil and exempting trains carrying many other combustible materials, including the chemical involved. This doesn't make any fucking sense. After industry pressure, the final measure ended up narrowly focused on the transport of crude oil and exempting trains carrying many other combustible materials? Why can't you just include all combustible materials? What is the like benefit here of not doing that? Well, I understand from a executive perspective, like from a company perspective, I understand that, but like it's fucking stupid. After rail industry donors delivered more than $6 million to GOP campaigns, the Trump administration, backed by rail lobbyists and Senate Republicans, rescinded part of that rule aimed at making better braking systems widespread in the nation. Oh, great. So, thanks, Trump. I swear to God, like Republicans, like, everything that could be good for the world, Republicans are against. Like, basic safety regulations, they want to be against. They're, like, against that. Specifically, regulators killed provisions requiring rail cars carrying hazardous flammable materials to be equipped with electronic braking systems to stop trains more quickly than conventional air brakes. Norfolk Southern had previously touted that the new technology known as electronically controlled pneumatic brakes for its potential to reduce train stopping distances by as much as 60% over conventional air brake systems. But the company lobbying group nonetheless pressed for the rules of repeal, telling regulators that it would impose tremendous costs without providing offsetting. Yeah, so basically this is just corporate speak for saying it costs too much money, so we don't want to do it. That argument won out with Trump officials, and the Biden administration is not moved to reinstate the brake rule or expand the kind of trains subjugated to tougher safety regulations. Okay. Would ECP brakes have reduced the severity of accident? Yes. So we have some expert testimony attesting to the fact that the ECP would have been good. Dude, I don't know why this keeps freezing. Sorry about that. I'm going to have to figure out a better way of doing that. My camera keeps freezing. So they're keeping their cards close to the vest here. The company referred the lever to the National Transportation Safety Board, the federal agency that is investigating the accident and that had originally called for more expansive rules governing the transport of hazardous materials. This story makes the company look really bad. And can be used as leverage by the union workers, I think. I don't know how useful this could be for unions. Like, they could point to this and say, you guys are fucking dipshits, and we could have prevented this accident from happening, which would be correct. I just don't know how far they can take it, you know? A spokesperson for one advocacy group pressing for tougher safety regulations in Ohio disaster and the latest consequences of the rail industry. Prior to the stock buyback era, railroads agreed that ECP brakes were a good thing. A long time, okay. The railroads hadn't yet come to the realization that they could do whatever they wanted. ECP brakes were on the drawing board, then off. So of course this implies strongly, and I would agree with this implication, that the introduction of, like, lobbying was a major component to the removal of basic safety regulations. Specifically, in this instance, ECP brakes. The vast majority of the nation's trains continue to rely on braking systems first invented in 1868. Oof. Hey, I'm train-pilled, okay? I think trains are based, and more people should use them. Unfortunately, we live in a society where it's dominated mostly by cars. So, yeah, that sucks, I guess. Maybe we should make improvements in our public transportation. And if you hear my dogs freaking out in the background, I apologize. I can't really do much about that. They're just playing. Okay. While air brakes stop train cars individually, as air pressures move sequentially from one car to the next, ECP brakes operate using an electronic signal and can stop an entire train much faster. Well, that's cool. I like that. As one train industry insider told the Washington Post anonymously in 2016, trains are like giant slinkies. When you have that back of the train running into the front of the train, they can actually push cars out, causing a derailment and cause a hell of a mess. Huh. Beginning in the 2000s, federal rail regulators pushed the rail industry to upgrade the electronic... Yep, okay, got that. Could significantly enhance rail safety and efficiency. This is a very good article. I don't know if I want to read the entire thing, though. This is basically saying a lot of the things that I believe before I read it. Basically, these companies are taking in record profits. They are lobbying to prevent improvements to safety, basic safety protocols, and the efficaciousness of these certain safety things are fairly reliable. Yeah. Hazard. Alongside their campaign to kill the brake rule, industry lobbyists push to limit the types of chemical compounds that would be covered by new regulations, including the brake rule. Oh, that makes sense. They propose limiting the definition of high-hazard flammable trains, mostly to cover oil trains, but not trains carrying industrial chemical. Okay. It would be inappropriate to include those other flammable liquids in the rule without assessing how and in what quantities they are shipped and what risks are associated with the transportation. By contrast, the NTSB, the federal agency tasked with investigating transportation accidents, argued for a broader definition of high-hazard flammable trains. Okay. The NTSB explicitly called for rules to cover Class 2 flammable gases, a category that included vinyl chloride, which, incidentally, is the chloride, or was a chemical carried by this, by these trains right here. Where was I? The chemical that was oh, okay, in the very next sentence it told me that. Okay, cool. In 2015, the Obama... Okay, I think we get the gist here. So, basically, conservatives want to rescind safety protocols for trains because they are lobbied to do so. And the risk of that is people dying and the environment becoming polluted, as well as the opportunity costs associated with people not working because of contracting whatever illness was a product of the train derailment. And also it increases premiums, medical premiums, at least for the area. So, like, in every element here, it is, like, just not good. And all the while, by the way, they are taking record profits, so they could have easily invested in these basic safety things, including ECP brakes. But they don't want to do that because they're a company, and the primary interest of a company is to make money, even if it is at the cost of human lives. So, yeah, obviously I am in favor of the unions. I think that unions are very important, especially for this reason. Like, they... Yeah, like, this is, I mean, like, again, thankfully nobody died or anything, but the fact remains that this was very risky and somebody could die, and also there's it affects the entire community because they had to be evacuated. So, I think that I can't really say something that, I can't say anything new that I haven't said in the past, but we really need to, you know, get these safety things passed. The executive branch seems like they have a say in this, especially since I believe trains or the rail industry is like a vital industry, or is identified as one or categorized as one. So I think that there could be some things that the president can do, right? But I mean, like, I guess if there's like no agreement between the union and the company itself. But yeah, pretty fucked. And hopefully we are able to get things as very, you know, simple as, like, safety protocols passed. And I think like the very next step with this specifically would be to get ECP brakes. Sorry. Would be to get ECP brakes for these trains. That would be important. So yeah, really fucked up, and yeah, I don't know. Go unions and fuck corporations, am I right? Okay, cool. We did it. Okay. Oh boy, I think it's almost time here to talk about the elephant in the room. Hold on. No, I don't want to do that. Okay, I don't know. We're gonna wait, actually. Okay. Where are we at here? We are at an hour. Hmm. So if you need any more evidence that Tucker Carlson is xenophobic or a conduit for the Great Replacement theory crowd, I believe that this is a appropriate clip to show.
That's an emergency.
Whoa, what's an emergency?
If anything is an emergency, that's an emergency. But it's being ignored. We'll just import new workers. And that's why the southern border of the United States is open tonight, as it has been for 2 years.
So this is again a Great Replacement theory talking point, that the border is open and they are importing workers. And of course he's referring to black and brown people. And he's not going to say it explicitly. I don't know, I guess, if he will in this clip. But the premise behind the theory itself is that, Democrats are importing immigrants into the country to shift the demographics into their favor. But now this is being taken by a slightly different angle with the economy.
And because it's open, millions and millions and millions of foreign nationals have streamed across.
Millions, billions. Oh, God. Fear-mongering, baby, I love it.
Into our country illegally. In many cases, we know nothing about them at all. We can't even imagine how their presence long-term will affect our economy.
I can tell you the answer to that, actually. Long-term, the economy benefits by a product of immigration, including illegal immigration. And yeah, I don't know. I mean, the jury is out on that one. I guess if you don't believe me, just look it up. I don't know. I think I can show people, I guess, but it's pretty obvious. By the way, same with crime. The correlation between immigration and crime is negative. So as more immigration goes up, there is less crime committed. Believe it or not, domestic citizens commit more crime on average than your immigrants.
or already strained social services, the ones you paid for your entire life. You think
Wait, what? What's he talking about?
healthcare is in shambles now? Go ahead and visit an emergency room in 5 years.
I don't understand the point he's trying to make here. Is it like that they're going to be clogging up, like there's going to be like longer waiting times because there's like more immigrants? I don't think it's that simple.
Good luck getting treatment. But the real cost to the country isn't social cohesion. This is just...
Whoa, social cohesion. This is a Nazi talking point, actually. The idea here being that the introduction of immigrants will break up the social fabric of the country. And, I mean, like, this is kind of like an appeal to degeneracy in a way. That these, like, dirty black and brown people are coming into the country to break up our society. Yeah, I mean, I feel like this is like a pretty xenophobic talking point.
Too many new people. Doesn't matter whether they're good people or bad people, they're strangers.
It doesn't matter if they're good people?
And there are too many of them. There is no chance we could assimilate all of them. And at this point, we have enough problems
Wait, that's not true. Okay, whatever.
with our social fabric all on our own.
Dude, like, it's honestly crazy that, like, this is the most watched news figure in the entire country, and he's literally just saying Nazi talking points. Yeah. What can you do, though? Oh yeah, I saw this too. So Trump called DeSantis a groomer, apparently. I think that's pretty funny, but we'll see his response. He's responding to it, I guess.
Social directed at you. Some were insinuating that you.
So here's what I would say about all that. I get you guys want the controversy.
Wait, why is there like baby shit on his left and right? What is that? Why is that there?
Proposed legislation against defamation address those posts that could be considered damaging.
Well, if you think when we did the defamation panel yesterday, I made the point, look, I have a platform. It's different for me because I can fight back, and people just know I face defamatory stuff every single day I've been governor. That's just the nature of it. But I have a platform to fight back. A lot of these other people that are more little, they don't necessarily have a platform to fight back. And so in terms of our reforms, I really want to empower them more so than people that occupy high positions like me. It just goes with the territory. You got to have a thick skin. It's also just practically speaking, I would not take time out of being governor to be fighting lawsuits. It's just not practical in terms of what we're doing. And I'd also just say this.
By the way, what they're doing is trying to eradicate the existence of trans people.
I spend
burn
my
books
time
in libraries.
delivering results for the people of Florida and fighting against Joe Biden. That's how I spend my time.
It's really weird to frame. I don't know, but like it feels really weird to frame your entire political existence around the adversarial relationship with the opposing party. Like, if your entire existence as a political figure is to be in opposition to somebody else, it's like, okay, like, what do you actually stand for, though? Like, if it's... Yeah, I mean, it just feels like there's, like, you're just a vacuous, empty shell of a human. You know, you don't really contribute anything. You're really just there to be obstructionist.
I don't spend my time trying to smear other Republicans.
By the way, this was in response to Trump calling him a groomer. He's actually not, like, he's not, like, denying it. He's just saying that, look, I'm not here to take shots at anybody. I get called everything you can think of under the sun on a daily basis. I'm just here to do my job, which is to be an obstructionist.
If you wouldn't mind, I'd like to get back to Reedy Creek.
Sure.
One of the provisions in the bill that was passed last year, and one of the
So yeah, there's nothing of value to derive from this clip, I guess. Sorry. I just saw this clip. Well, I didn't just see it, but yeah. Another Carlson clip. Dude, I see this shit like on my tail all the time.
At the core of the Democratic program is race hatred. Obviously, the party of Jim Crow is still at it. They never really changed. They just call it equity now. Florida's...
Oh my god. Yeah, when you think about it, Jim Crow is a lot like... When you think about it, Jim Crow is a lot like equity.
State University, completely controlled by the left, has just adopted a series of diversity, equity, and inclusion programs to promote...
Dude, it's amazing. We're 14 seconds in, and he's already jam-packed it with, like, as much far-right talking points as possible. Like, I guess I'll try to identify them one by one.
At the core of the Democratic program is race hatred.
So, that's not true. This is a... Yeah, that's not true. So, we're off to one line, 3 seconds.
Obviously, the party of Jim Crow is still at it. They never really changed.
There was a political realignment in the 1960s. The party of Jim Crow is more so adopted by the Conservative or the Republican Party.
They just
The
call it
GOP.
equity now. Florida State University, completely controlled by the left, is just...
The universities are not controlled by leftists because leftists are categorized as post-capitalists, and post-capitalists are not the predominant hegemony within the university, like, industry, I guess.
adopted a series of diversity, equity, and inclusion programs to promote bigotry openly.
There is no promotion of bigotry within diversity training programs. They are simply just there to include a wide range of demographics and not discriminate against them. So it's actually the opposite of bigotry.
Castigates believing Christians.
Sorry, 1 second. Okay, sorry. Let's finish this video real quick.
For their Christian privilege.
Wait, hold on.
Castigates believing Christians for their Christian privilege. Bigotry openly. Castigates believing Christians for their Christian privilege. There's no Christian privilege in this country.
That's also false. Being a Christian on average makes you better off, and socially, generally speaking. and most people in the country are Christian also, so.
By the way, the school also offers a racially segregated scholarship that bars white students from applying, which is illegal, but it's also race hatred.
I don't believe you, basically. I don't believe that's happening.
What's another word for it? There isn't one. It's race hatred. But this is everywhere. But
I don't think that's what race hatred means. So in 32 seconds here, we have been exposed to lie after lie and misrepresentation upon misrepresentation. So that's great. Biggest news channel in the country, by the way. Excuse me. Wait, did I just watch that? Yeah, okay. What the fuck? What? Okay, we have some spicy things to go over in a moment here. Wow. Okay, hold on. Like literally everything here is fucked up. Okay. Okay, cool. Sorry, I gotta watch one more Tucker clip, okay? I gotta get my fix. Alright, let's do it. This is the last one we'll watch because it's the only one I saw.
they literally love abortion.
True. Yeah, I agree.
Now, let's set aside the politics and ask an honest question. Who loves abortion? Honestly, who loves abortion?
I mean, like, I'm sure that the mother who got an unplanned pregnancy does. Yeah.
Maybe you think abortion should be legal, but do you love abortion? Do you think
Do you love black people?
abortion is a wonderful, affirming act you feel so proud of? You brag about it with jewelry?
I don't know if they're bragging. They're literally just signaling support for the right to get an abortion.
If you feel that way, you should know that you are not defending a medical procedure. You wouldn't say that about an appendectomy. No.
What?
You are promoting an ancient religious rite called human sacrifice.
Well, it's not human sacrifice because a fetus is not the same as a human.
That's what this is, promoting human sacrifice. Let's stop lying about it. It's very obvious now.
Dude, they're so weird. Like, shut the fuck up. Conservatives are very weird. Oh, shit. Okay. Okay. God, he's so funny, man. Tucker Carlson. Like, he's just such a silly guy. It's so weird. Okay,
So for you,
I'm sorry. I know I said that was the last clip, but this is just like weird at this point.
More heat or air conditioning.
Look at this title, Climate Cult. You will suffer and you will enjoy. Why? I don't understand how this framing makes them look bad here. Yeah, I don't know. So wait, we have John Kerry, Al Gore, and AOC all in frame. Underneath it saying the Church of Environmentalism. It's just, who takes their time to make this shit up?
What else are you allowed to have in the name of the climate crisis? Well, how about no more heat or air conditioning or electricity or cars or wearing leather or eating meat or having children?
I don't think any of that that he listed is things that Democrats are trying to abolish. If I were to wager a guess, I'd say that that's not happening. Neoliberalism typically isn't a staunch or isn't like a very effective way of like curtailing the effects of climate change. They're definitely better than conservatives are, but they are still like not fundamentally, you know, like going to redress the issue. And also doing all of that might not either, actually. There should be limitations, of course, with the consumption of meat, specifically beef, but because I think that was one of the things he mentioned. But yeah, I don't know.
Your air conditioning or electricity or cars or wearing leather.
Also, you can have AC if it's powered by like renewable energy, and it wouldn't be that big of a deal.
Or eating meat or having children.
And you can still have children and still, you know, curtail the effects of climate change. Those aren't mutually exclusive.
All are sins against the climate. So for you, it is.
That's not necessarily true. Like I said, you can have AC, but it can be powered by like solar or wind energy, or I guess hydroelectric energy or whatever. It doesn't have to be powered by like, you know, those electrical substations or whatever. It can be powered by renewable energy, so it's not that big of a deal.
Insects, tap water, and celibacy.
Wait, what did he say?
Insects, tap water.
No, I heard that.
Climate. So for you, it is insects, tap water, and celibacy.
Okay.
That's a tough religion. Even John the Baptist got to eat honey and locusts.
Oh god, excuse me. Wow. I'm sorry. I'm just allergic to like dumb. I'm allergic to dumb fucks. Holy shit. Dude, imagine just making something up and then like being mad about it. Like this is like the mantra of conservatives. Oh shit. Like they're literally just making stuff up. Yeah, I think I've went over everything. For now. Sorry. Oops. Wait, there we go. Okay, so, I am going to take a quick break, and then when we get back, we will be going over Hogwarts Legacy, and maybe a couple of Ben Shapiro videos, because I saw them and they were kind of, I saw the title, and they look a little spicy, so I will be right back. Okay. I am back. Sorry about that. A little bit of a delay. Alright, so let's get into what was I gonna say? Hogwarts Legacy. Oh shit, where is it? Oh boy. Yeah, this is bad. Okay, hold on. Okay. Alright. So let's talk about Hogwarts Legacy. Now, what is it? Well, it's a video game that was recently released and is also very popular right now, for several reasons, but right now it's very popular, trending, and it is associated with the universe of Harry Potter. The creator of Harry Potter is J.K. Rowling, and she is an individual who is fairly transphobic, I would say, and caters to the interests of transphobes or conservatives. She has praised Matt Walsh in the past for his documentary on What is a Woman, which was transphobic. She has also concern trolled, and that's me using that term pretty loosely, it's more so propaganda, has been very concerned about the plight of women in women's prisons with regards to trans women coming into those institutions, in spite of the fact that the people she was concerned about, she was concerned about trans women being in women's prisons, in spite of the fact that there was only like 6 trans women in UK or Scotland prisons. I think it was Scotland prisons, actually, institutions. So the concern there was grounded upon literally like 6 people, 6 human beings, of which none of them actually raped anybody, in the prison itself. So, so she is concerned. She has fear-mongered over the existence of trans women in women's spaces. She has praised transphobes, and her attitude, broadly from what I've seen, has been catering to the interests of conservatives. And the Conservative Party is very intolerant of trans people. Now, with all that being said, Hogwarts Legacy is a video game, okay? And it is a video game by which has garnered a lot of controversy by its association with J.K. Rowling, because it's obviously inspired by Harry Potter, and I have seen a lot of people online who are contributing to the there's a lot of discourse right now going on about whether or not we should boycott the game or not. And in my opinion, I believe that boycotting Hogwarts Legacy is going to be ineffective. The reason why I believe this is because it's like a AAA game, heavily marketed on television. Like, it is marketed throughout society extensively, I would say. I haven't seen a video game actually as marketed as much as Hogwarts Legacy has in recent memory. Maybe I'm not paying attention enough, but that's just that's just, my opinion. I see like on TV all the time. So it's been, it has a lot of marketing behind it. I also think that like a broad boycott on the national level won't be effective because like it's an international release game. Across the entire world, this game is available for those who obviously have the console or the platforms to play it upon. And there isn't a lot of people who are I don't know if this is true, but I feel like not a lot of people understand the nuances of regarding J.K. Rowling's like political beliefs. And when they see like this game, for example, they're thinking like, obviously some of it is nostalgia, but also they don't think like about J.K. Rowling that much more than they do about the game itself, like the universe of Harry Potter. And this so in this sense, I think that like boycotting the game just won't work because it's like an international game. So that's another reason. And some of the behavior I've seen online regarding the discourse about this game has been disappointing, to say the least. So, for example, allow me to share the pinnacle of my disagreement. This individual, Lauren Ingram, had made this tweet stating as such: ultimately, as a cis person, it's not up to me to decide if Hogwarts Legacy is transphobic. The trans people in my life and online have told me it is, so I won't be buying it. So this is pretty bad logic. The reason why is because whether or not you are cisgender is completely irrelevant to whether something is transphobic. Something is either transphobic or it's not. And your identity as a cisgender person, you can correctly identify things that are transphobic. You don't need to defer to trans people's opinions on whether something is transphobic or not, because there are certainly trans people out there who believe things are not transphobic, for example, that actually are transphobic. So they're what's the word I'm looking for? They're like, opinion about certain things could be very well off. Like if I were to employ this logic, then I would defer to Blair White and her opinions regarding trans people, but I would not. I mean, in the real world, I would not do that because Blair White is conservative among other things, but she has also expressed apathy towards the trans community, and I think that like her opinion I would trust the less regarding trans rights and like what is and isn't transphobic versus like a progressive cisgender person. So your identity here as cisgender is completely irrelevant to whether something is or isn't transphobic. Also, like this follow-up here, that the trans people in my life and online have told me it is, so I won't be buying it. Well, there are definitely tons of people who express the fact that they believe the game is transphobic. I don't know if the game itself, like, fundamentally is transphobic. I think that the creator is, for sure, like not the people who developed and programmed the game, but like the creator of like the IP itself, Harry Potter, is, I believe, transphobic. I don't know if the game itself is. So I know I know like it might seem like I'm nitpicking here or splitting hairs, but I think that's a meaningful distinction. She goes on, by buying the game, you're supporting its transphobic creator. This is debatable because you can be critical of J.K. Rowling while playing a video game. I don't know how much of the monetary, I don't know how much J.K. Rowling is benefiting monetarily from people purchasing the game. I don't know, and I especially do not know, and nobody can know this actually, how much of the game sales that are being given to J.K. Rowling, which I don't know how much it actually is, or if it is at all, but let's just, for sake of argument, say that game sales, some of them are being given to J.K. Rowling. I don't know, and I don't think many people can know this, how much of those game sales are contributing directly to the harm of trans people. Because what we qualify as harm, in my opinion, is whether it contributes to interpersonal discrimination or systemic discrimination. That can be like laws or policies passed. how much of these game sales? Because but keep in mind, J.K. Rowling is already like a rich billionaire. She's already contributing negatively to the trans community with her concern trolling over like trans women in prisons, for example. How much of the game sales are going to meaningfully contribute more to that misery, I guess, or to that fear mongering? We can't really trace the game sales directly to like some. It's very abstracted, right? So I guess my argument here is like she's already very wealthy and has a lot of influence, even if the game does well. And if the game does well, which I believe it is right now, then the game sales, the portion that goes to J.K. Rowling, which again, I don't know how much that is. I don't know if we can say that meaningfully contributes negatively to the trans community. I don't want to. Let me just continue here. And encouraging her to continue her horrific crusade against trans people, she has literally tweeted. Buying a video game does not necessarily correlate to the encouragement of her continuing her horrific crusade against trans people. I don't know if we can necessarily create that like logical through line, because like by buying a game, how much of your dollars are being contributed towards the horrific crusade against trans people? Like realistically speaking, I don't see that. I can't see that. Like it's so abstracted that like we don't know. And also she's very rich already, so the wealth and influence she has is already enough to negatively affect the trans community. If you support trans rights and are thinking about purchasing the game, consider this. Will directly harm you to not play this game. So this is kind of irrelevant. That doesn't really matter. Because if you want to play a video game, you should do it without fear of being like bullied or shit. Because it will directly contribute to harming of trans people. No, this is an unfalsifiable claim, I think. You can't necessarily say that buying the game will directly contribute to continuing harm of trans people. I don't think you can make this claim. It's just not false. It's unfalsifiable. Like how can you prove that? The game sales? Is it the game sales? Is it the normalization of content that's created by transphobes? Because this is already commonplace already. I mean, it's already commonplace within a capitalist society for there to be unethical consumption, okay? I don't know necessarily how much of a through line we can create with regards to the purchasing of Hogwarts Legacy and the harm to the trans community. Because again, and I'll reiterate this, J.K. Rowling is already very wealthy. She's already a major influence upon society. I don't know how much of an added effect it would be for somebody to play this game. Now, I think there's also something else worth mentioning. I saw this as well. So, this person saying up here, harassing people and streamers because they played Hogwarts Legacy isn't great. So, to give you a little bit of background really quick, there were certain people who were considering streaming Hogwarts Legacy, and I think one of them actually did, but the person who was streaming it was raising money for the Trevor Project. The Trevor Project is a charity that is supposed to help the trans community. I believe its focus is on like suicide prevention and providing those resources and some other resources. I'm guessing. It's a good charity for the trans community. But that was what the charity was. That's what the streamer was trying to raise money for, while streaming Hogwarts Legacy. The person was subsequently harassed to the point of tears, and they ended up shutting the stream down, I think. And also, there's another stream that was conducted on a progressive platform by somebody else. It was also trying to raise money for the Trevor Project, and they were also harassed to the point, or they were like flooded and rated to the point where they couldn't actually even play the game. And also there are some bigger streamers on Twitch, such as Hassan, who was considering streaming the game and raising money for the Trevor Project. But because of the onslaught from certain individuals, specifically Wolf Skulls, he was deterred from doing as such. And again, the premise behind the stream would to be raising money for the Trevor Project or whatever other trans charity that whatever streamer wants to do. Now, with that backdrop lit, let's take a look here. So, this person says harassing people streamers because they played Hogwarts Legacy isn't great. I wouldn't say that it's not just that it isn't great. It's actually bad. Like it's very bad. But I really don't need to hear the opinion of like 1,000 cis dudes. Right off the bat, this is irrelevant to say. Their identity is not important, I think, on a trans issue, especially when they all say basically the same shit. They're adding nothing to the conversation. Yeah, so whenever somebody talks about a story or gives an opinion, sometimes those opinions will overlap, and the facts of the story will also overlap. I don't think that's... it seems like this person's upset by by reality. And really, this tweet really, to me, comes off more like they're just mad that cisgender people are providing an opinion about a video game that they disagree with. And this person, of course, saying something stupid. Cis-het YouTubers waiting to talk about queer issues. They don't know anything about... Yeah. So it seems like people care more about castrating certain content creators I disagree with by using their identity as a justifying mechanism for invalidating their, prescriptions. Like, honest to God, that's the vibe I get. That's also, that's like saying white people shouldn't talk about black issues because they're white. Yeah, kind of is saying the same thing. Okay. With all that being said, I don't want to belabor the point here, but in my opinion, I think that here's my perspective, okay? as a cisgender white male, with only correct opinions, by the way. I only spout facts. I will provide my opinion on this discourse, I guess. I believe that harassing people for playing a video game while also trying to raise money for trans issues is fucked up. Preventing people from playing this video game through harassment is also fucked up. I think this, honest to God, is made even worse. I just think that this is like especially bad, like trying to like harass people out of playing this game or streaming this game. I think that's especially bad when like the streamer was trying to raise money for like trans charities. It's not like, and of course the common like retort to that would be like, well, why can't they play a different game? And this is just missing the point, in my opinion. I think that there's a couple of reasons why choosing Hogwarts Legacy to stream while raising money for trans charities is good. And why choosing a different game would make less sense. Right now, Hogwarts Legacy is trending. It's very popular. So exploiting that popularity to garner more viewers, which could translate to more donos for trans charities, that's good. I like that. I like money being donated to trans charities. I think that's good. I also think it could be good to like contrast the like association here. Like, I'm trying to figure out how to describe this. So like, I think streaming Hogwarts Legacy, because of its association with J.K. Rowling, I think raising money at the behest of her IP is good, because it's a good way to contrast like what's bad, which is the transphobia from her, and the good, raising money for trans charities. I think that contrasting those two things by raising the money for that specific game, that can be good. Also, you can be pulling in people from all across the political spectrum. If you have people who like Harry Potter, right? But they're really only into video games and not really into politics. Well, you could be getting them into your stream, and you could be potentially getting them to donate to trans charities. I think that's also good. personally, I think if you're gonna buy the game, it'd be great for you to stream it and to subsequently raise money for charity. That's really good. If you want to buy it and just play it by yourself, I literally don't care. I honestly think like focusing so much on this has it's interesting because like the premise behind all these people talking about it is like to boycott it, but inadvertently I feel like they've done the exact opposite. They've increased like game sales and have provided right wing fodder for the next couple of years. Oh, I don't know how long, but they've given basically ammunition to the far right to point out the delirious, the radical lefty trans communities trying to cancel, video games that disagree with their ideology. Like, you could take this 100 different ways if you're a right winger. This behavior online has been disappointing, very disappointing. But yeah, I think that if you ultimately want to play the game and don't want to raise money or don't want to stream it or whatever, I really, sincerely don't think that's an issue. I think it could be good, though, if you're going to play the game, to keep in mind the fact that, of course, J.K. Rowling is a piece of shit, and we should not tolerate, like, transphobia or anything like that. That's also good. I think, like, honestly, it's, like, really not a big deal. The boycotting, though, and the outrage online has seemed to have had a opposite effect to what people wanted, because the game is more popular, I feel like, now than ever. Mostly as a product of, like, this discourse. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't think that this is, like, that... this really shouldn't be, like, a main thing to talk about. I'm only discussing it right now because I've seen it all over the fucking Twitter and Reddit and shit, and it's garnered a lot of traction. I just think like there's like bigger fish to fry right now, like gender affirming care being banned in like different states, and it seems like some people, not all, but it seems like some people want to focus more so on this video game. So I don't know. I just think this whole thing is kind of stupid. Playing this video game will not meaningfully harm the trans community. It's really hard to say how much. It's really hard to say even if it would harm them at all. I don't know. Maybe, possibly. I don't know. I don't think it's like that big of a deal though if you play this game. And yeah, I don't know. I guess that's it. Yeah, this appeal to like identity politics is really obnoxious. It actually feeds into the stereotype that conservatives have with like lefties. I don't know. It's just like, who fucking cares? Sometimes I think cishet white men don't deserve freedom of speech. I'm only inclined to believe that's a joke. I hope it is, at least. I don't know. Yeah, the identity of people, whether they're cisgender or not, I think is irrelevant. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't... whatever. I said all the points I wanted to say, so that's it. Oh, and in response to the failure of this boycott, people are trying to, like, spoil the game. Yeah, I guess, like, because, like, I don't know, they're trying everything, I guess. I mean, like, I understand, I appreciate the intentions behind people. Like, I can understand people being upset by the popularity of such a game. Harry Potter is a monumental IP, and it has been for a very long time. This boycott was destined to fail from the start. It was never going to work. Like, ever. And people harassing others who are trying to raise money for a charity, pro-trans rights or whatever, for playing a video game is pretty fucked up and actually self-inflicted harm upon the trans community. But now, of course, they're trying to spoil the game for a lot of people. I don't really think that's, like... I mean, like, look at this shit. Rowling is trending. The game is doing phenomenally well, as it was destined to do from the start. This is just fucking stupid. This was the worst hill to die on, I feel, for lefties, or whoever is participating in this discourse. I just don't understand this shit. Yeah, and another thing is, like, many people aren't even, like, playing it for the story, I feel like. It's just dumb. Like, this whole thing's stupid. Trans rights are being, incrementally abolished from state to state, and some of these dumb fucks want to spend their time online crying about people playing a video game that would have otherwise been raising money for charity. So yeah, that's cool. One moment. I'm gonna go grab some water. My throat's starting to hurt. Okay, now that that's done, let's watch some Ben Shapiro. He's got quite the videos released. Like, some of these titles are wild. What? Oh no. Okay, hold on. Yeah, so, like, Ben Shapiro sucks. He's got some of these videos that look pretty wild to me. Matt Walsh destroys a Tennessee legislator over transing the kids.
Site security is a never-ending...
Transing the kids is, like, a Nazi talking point, too. Hold on. Everything these guys say is Nazi talking points, basically.
Something to stand up to this sort of pressure. It really does. Because what the left is really, really good at on these particular issues is shifting...
Dude, you're loud. Let's turn you down a little bit.
...the burden of proof. So, for example, the burden of proof when it comes to saying that men are men or women and women are women is now on you. You now have to take an act of courage to say that men are men or women are... I mean, I suppose you could be a coward like Hassan Piker and just not play a game because people are yelling at you in the comments.
Well, I don't know how I feel about that. I mean, like... I think it's a little weird to characterize that as being a coward. I don't know. He probably should still play it anyway, because, like, he has a big platform. But, I don't know, whatever.
You could actually do something courageous. The entire press reflect the whims of the activists because they are, in fact, activists. Perfect example, a headline from Yahoo News today, reflecting the Associated Press headline, quote, Montana bill would let students misgender classmates. Look at the shift in the burden of proof there. Let students misgender classmates. So the core assumption...
Does he understand the concept of framing? Like, how media apparatuses will frame things in a way that isn't necessarily incorrect, but will lead you to a certain conclusion? I feel like Ben should know that better than anybody, because he participates within the larger conservative space. And they frame things very explicitly.
Assumption is that the moral thing to do is to force students to...
Well, hold on. Nobody's speaking of morals here. This is just a... I know what he's referring to, like the story itself, and no such thing as morals were implied.
Students misgender classmates.
Like, he's assuming that they are trying to impose their morality or whatever, when all it is literally just like a news headline.
Look at the shift in the burden of proof there. Let students misgender classmates. So the core assumption is that the moral thing to do is to force students to call other students by a fake gender.
Yeah. Cope and seethe, transphobe.
That if Bob comes in and says, I'm Jane, all the other students must immediately reflect this. By law, says the Associated Press.
Well, I think the law is more nuanced than that. I do I really want to like look this up? No, I don't.
The burden of proof now shifts to you to explain why you should be able to explain the truth.
So it's interesting because like Ben Shapiro has in the past expressed the utilitarian benefit associated with calling somebody by their respected pronouns, or respecting their identity, gender identity. He discussed this with Blair White a while ago, but essentially he understands he wants to enforce the fact that there are biological differences between the sexes, which is true, but at the same time, the utilitarian benefit with respecting people's gender identity can outweigh that in certain situations. In this situation, it's just basic, day-to-day communication, specifically within, school. So it's weird to take issue with this when in the past he has already agreed with the utilitarian benefit of respecting people's identities.
Now, the reality is all this bill does, it says that students are allowed to say true things in school. According to the Associated Press, Montana schools would not be able to punish students who purposely misgender or dead name their transgender peers under a Republican-backed legislative proposal that opponents argue will increase bullying of children who are already struggling for acceptance. So, again, the burden of proof is on now people who just say true things. It is no longer on people to explain why everybody else should have to reflect their delusions.
Ben Shapiro is very well aware of the differences between sex and gender. Gender is a social construct, sex is biological. Every human being on the planet who has a functioning brain and passed second grade are fully aware of this fact. Unfortunately for Ben, he's a grifter, so he will lie and pretend that they are not that they are not different. So yeah, I don't know. He's just like a grifter. I don't know what to say. And purposely lying, by the way, because in the past he has acknowledged the utilitarian benefit with respecting people's gender identities, which this law seems to want to do.
It takes courage to stand up to that, which is why I want to single out a couple of courageous folks today. One of them, of course, is my colleague over at Daily Wire, Matt Walsh. So Matt, speaking in his own capacity because he's really passionate about the issue, he was invited to speak at the Tennessee House Health Committee hearing regarding a bill that would ban sex change treatment on minors. And he then unleashed in what is, I think, one of the most viral clips I have ever seen. It was pretty amazing. He was being questioned by...
It can't be that viral. I haven't yet to see this clip. Well, I guess this is pretty fresh, this video release, so...
a Media Matters lackey.
What?
Over in the Tennessee House, a Tennessee Democrat, about the...
I love his mug, by the way, leftist tears. I swear, conservatives literally have, they're the most unserious political party I've ever seen on the planet.
Fact that 20 years ago, Matt was doing a radio show and he was talking about the definition of age in American society and how way back when it was considered marriageable age at 16. And this Tennessee Democrat tries to suggest...
Just get to the
historically.
And listen to the silence. It's amazing.
I was talking about the fact that people tended to marry young historically, and that's all that was about. How does that relate to this subject?
What?
Just curious of your definition of if you feel like people are adults at 16 should...
Well, people are adults at 18, but actually they're...
Adulthood is arbitrary. In terms of legally, we arbitrarily determine what is and isn't an adult. But as far as, the social element with adulthood, yeah, I feel like that's pretty arbitrary. I don't know. I don't know. They're obviously talking about, child marriage, and I don't know. I mean, I know that Matt Walsh is pro-child marriage, so he's going to argue this until he's blue in the face, I guess.
Your brain is not fully developed until you're 25. So we should be having a conversation about whether we should even be doing these surgeries to people at 18.
So you don't need to be 25 years old. The full development of your brain is irrelevant to whether or not you can give consent to medical procedures. There are, of course, exceptions. I think, if your brain's literally if you're suffering from a condition which can infringe upon your critical thinking, I think that's maybe one exception. But broadly speaking, I don't care if the brain's fully developed. You can make rational decisions regarding your own body, at an age younger than 25. This is commonplace, not just in law, but like just in the medical community.
But certainly before 18, it's absurd. I mean, do you think?
By the way, this is really important because like, if you're transgender and you believe you are, at a young age, they should. This is so basic, man. It's like it's just so fucking common sense. If you believe you're transgender at like a young age, you should be in consultation with your parents as well as physicians. And if they want to take puberty blockers to delay their puberty, to make a full determination, then okay, cool. Sometimes it will result in them being placed on HRT, and other times it won't. But that needs to take place at a younger age because puberty takes place at a younger age. So yeah, that's why they're called puberty blockers. A lot of people who undergo a puberty they didn't want to go through, and at a later date decide they want to transition, that a lot of them regret not having, or a lot of them feel anguish having gone through their the puberty they didn't want to go through. So puberty blockers are helpful in the sense that it can ameliorate some of the dysphoria. But once it happens, it's kind of too late, right? So that's why, we need to have these things take place at a younger age, at least with, like, puberty blockers. But, like, GRS is largely restricted under the age of 18.
That a 16-year-old can meaningfully consent to having their body parts removed?
It's funny that he says that when he thinks that they can meaningfully consent to, like, getting married.
Do you? No?
They're all mumbling to themselves how retarded this guy is.
We do not. Yeah, we ask the questions. It's not. It's.
Okay.
Representative Hemmer, you are recognized.
That silence is the person looking around in bewilderment at common sense has the right of way, and it is now your job to explain why common sense is wrong.
All right, I'm bored. Is there anything else here that's worth looking into? The LGBTQ plus religious cults.
Petconomics Savings Lesson 12.
Demands human sacrifice. Whoa. I'm scared.
International movement, by the way. This religious movement, the secular religious movement, because it is in fact a...
Wait, I'm sorry. Describing secularism as a religious movement is like paradoxically dumbfounding. I don't know. That's just
pagan religion of its own. Has now infused into major church institutions. The left is great.
I guess it was Casual Friday yesterday because this was released 16 hours ago, and he's wearing like a white shirt and a blazer, or not blazer. I don't know what that is. Just a button-up shirt.
They take over institutions and they wield those institutions as sort of meat puppets on behalf of their viewpoint.
So this is fear-mongering. Obviously, he's trying to invoke the idea that these groups of people are infiltrating and controlling like the government, deep state, universities, whatever, to indoctrinate a generation of humans. This is not happening. Yeah, I don't know. But it's
this is why, for example, the Church of England just voted in favor of blessings for same-sex unions.
Okay.
According to the UK Guardian, Church of England priests will be permitted to bless
Wait, I'm sorry, is that proof that the religious institution, is this like proof that like they're being infiltrated because they're giving the blessing of gay marriage?
Marriages of same-sex couples in a profound shift in the church's stance on homosexuality after a historic vote by its governing body. The first blessings for gay couples should happen this summer. Individual churches will be encouraged to state clearly whether they will offer blessings to avoid confusion and disappointment. After an impassioned debate lasting more than 8 hours, the Church of England's National Assembly, the Church Synod, voted by 250 votes to 181 to back a proposal by bishops intended to end years of painful divisions and disagreement over sexuality. But emotionally charged speeches from those advocating full equality for LGBTQ plus minus divided by a sign happy face emoji Christians and those...
He's so mad. By the way, people who appeal to religiosity as a reason why homosexuality should be condemned or prevented, usually are citing, usually like have never read the Bible, aren't religious themselves, or have read the Bible and don't understand it.
Arguing that traditional biblical teaching on marriage and sex must be upheld, signaled the debate is set to continue. The synod also agreed the church will apologize for the harm it has caused to LGBTQ people and welcomed a forthcoming review of a ban on clergy entering into same-sex civil marriages themselves and a celibacy rule for clergy in same-sex relationships.
That seems good. I think that being accepting of different identities and sexualities is good because it increases human happiness, and I'm pro human happiness. I think that's good. I'm interested to see what angle Ben's going to take. He's probably going to say, like, now they're going woke. The religious people are going woke now.
Conservatives narrowly succeeded in amending the motion to state that it was church's doctrine of marriage between a man and a woman was unchanged. But they are still allowing blessings, and the Archbishop said, quote, "For the first time, the Church of England will publicly, unreservedly, and joyfully welcome same-sex couples in church."
Okay.
Hey, this obviously has nothing to do with historic or traditional Christianity or biblical belief. I mean, it is a direct rejection of that. Historical Judeo-Christian belief, biblical belief, suggests that homosexual acts are a sin.
This is incorrect. Well, it's technically true, but yeah. So technically, literally everything is a sin, but the premise behind which he's supporting or substantiating this claim is untrue. But yes, I mean, technically, literally everything is a sin. Like, breathing oxygen is a sin, because, yeah.
But secular worldview has now infused all of these institutions, and the idea is that...
Wait, I need a source on that. I'm sorry. I'm going to need a source on that. Because if you're going to say that secularism has influenced these institutions, you can't just like say... You can't just use the fact that they're becoming less intolerant of homosexuality as, like, a justification or proof of that. You're going to need more than that.
If you say that certain activity is a sin, and certain people have a predilection for this kind of activity, this means that you're intolerant and bigoted toward those people.
Yeah?
Which, of course, runs directly contra the basic premise of religion, which...
Okay, so he's basically saying that the mantra of religion is to be intolerant. Okay. Thank you, Ben. Yeah, we already knew that. What's your point?
Is that you are in charge of your own activity no matter the temptation. And that life is a struggle with temptation, and we all fall short, and we all fail. But that's what religion is. It's a demand to do things that you don't necessarily want to do on behalf of a higher morality. The Church of England...
Okay, I don't think that's true.
England has now been taken over by the cult of authenticity, the cult of
What? Wait, what's been taking over?
And that life is a struggle with temptation, and we all fall short, and we all fail.
Yeah.
But that's what religion is. It's a demand to do things that you don't necessarily want to do on behalf of a higher morality. The Church of England has now been taken over by the cult of authenticity, the cult of secular left-wing authenticity and transgressivism.
So he's just saying words. He's actually not, like, he's not demonstrating anything. He's not, like, proving that how that's the case or how it became the case. He's just saying words. It doesn't mean anything.
And you're going to see this increasingly, because to pretend that what's happening on the left here with regard to social policy is not in fact a religion is to ignore what it is. It is a cult that requires, in some cases, human sacrifice. We'll get to that.
So that's not what a cult is. But I wouldn't expect Ben to actually, like, use words in a way that's responsible. He just throws things out that sound scary. I mean, conservatives are scared of a lot of things, you know? So yeah.
That in just 1 second. First, there are a lot of crazy people out there, as we are hearing about, and they are use express politics as VPN for VPN of woke indoctrination. Push this particular religious cult of woke indoctrination.
So yeah, again, just words thrown out, thrown at a wall, kind of like throwing paint against a wall and hoping to see like a beautiful image. Woke indoctrination means nothing too. Yeah, I don't know. Everything is bad. Egalitarianism sucks. Gay people should stay in the closet. Yeah, I don't know. Like, there's really not a lot of analysis here because, like, he isn't, like, saying anything that's different from his other videos. It's just the same thing, basically. The same talking points.
These same people also kind of control the economy, and that is not a good idea. This
seems like a JQ dog whistle. The fact that the left are controlling the economy and that the left are also this secret cabal of people infiltrating religious institutions. I don't know. That's what it seems like, a JQ dog whistle, to me, at least. Yeah.
Just one reason why you should at least diversify a little bit into precious
metals. By the way, hold on. Let me just make clear exactly what he said.
Unbelievably enough, the same dunderheads that push this particular religious cult of woke indoctrination?
He's referring, if I were to guess, I think he's referring to like liberals or leftists, if I were to guess, who these people are.
These same people also kind of control the economy, and that is not a good idea. This is just one reason why you should at least diversify a little bit into precious metals.
Yeah, this is really dumb. So the economy is a very complex thing. It's not controlled by a singular group of people. It is ever changing every single day. It's a very complex like machine. To essentialize it to the point that you can say something as outlandish as these people control the economy is just utterly brain dead. It's the same, like, it's as brain dead as people who say, like, the president directly controls the economy. Like, Biden destroyed the economy or whatever. Like, it's way more complicated than that.
Our friends over at Birch Gold can help you do that. The debt ceiling exceeded $31.4 trillion this week. Inflation is still well above 6%, or 6.5% in December. And inflation is likely to continue for the foreseeable future because, again, the employment market remains robust. Simple fact of the matter is you cannot trust the government to handle your money, so you should at least diversify a little bit into precious metals. Gold has historically helped withstand inflation, geopolitical count. Talk to the experts at Birch Gold. Precious, smart strat over at Birch. They do require human sacrifice. This impact of the cult of wokeism, they do require human sacrifice.
Why? Why can't they just be normal? Oh my god. They can't be normal. They can't say things that are rational. They can't say things that make sense. Everything is like the worst. It's like everything has to be as hyperbolic as humanly possible. They control the economy. They're sacrificing your children. It's human sacrifice. It's a cult. It's like...
They really do. And that has come in the form of literally taking children and then sacrificing them to the trans god.
What? I can't take it, man. Okay, what's the evidence here? What were we going to say? I actually have no idea where this is going.
And it is terrifying stuff. I mean, I talked yesterday about this amazing piece from a person named Jamie Reed over at Barry Weiss's The Free Press, thefp.com. You should go check it out, in which she talks about her experiences.
Let's rely on the anecdotal evidence of Barry Weiss, of all human beings. That seems like a very good idea to derive reasonable conclusions from.
Washington University School of Medicine, Division of Infectious Diseases, working with teens and young adults who are HIV positive, and then joining the Washington University Transgender Center at St. Louis Children's Hospital, where they basically mainlined kids directly into quote-unquote gender-affirming healthcare with like one appointment. Suddenly kids were taking life-altering drugs that would sterilize them, drugs that would change their brain chemistry, and all the rest. Well, now...
Seems like he's leaving out a lot of context here. Also, he's relying on the conjecture of Barry Weiss, so this doesn't seem reliable already.
The consequences of this are becoming clear because of this whistleblower. The fact that it takes years for
Whistleblower? Are we talking Project Veritas level whistleblower, or Julia Assange? Okay.
Whistleblowers to come forward about the most obvious abuses I have ever seen is truly incredible. First of all, why would it even take a whistleblower to know right off the bat that pretending that boys who think they are girls ought to be given heavy doses of estrogen and then prepped to have their penises and testicles removed from them?
So this is really stupid for a couple of reasons. So firstly, first off, children are not getting GRS, largely speaking. There might be some exceptions for like mastectomies or the I don't know how the surgery exactly is performed, but like breast removal. I know that there is some exceptions for that, but like bottom surgery, for example, is usually not conducted on those under the age of 18. And I think that's for good reason, of course, but that's mostly because they need to go through it. Like GRS is something that is like step 4 or like even step 5 on the path of transitioning medically, because if you're a child, you usually first put on puberty blockers after extensive consultation with like endocrinologists and your parents and therapists and what have you. And then if you decide to pursue transition, well, you can then go on HRT, You do that for a minimum of like a year and a half, maybe 2 years. And then after that, you can consider, GRS or bottom surgery or something like that. And then after that, well, you could do FFS or, whatever. But the bottom line here is that, like, children are not having their genitalia removed, as Ben seems to imply here. Also, technically, bottom surgery isn't the removal of your penis. It's using the same tissue there and just using it to create the formation of a vulva. So it's not as simple as like cutting your dick off, which again is another like common conservative fear-mongering term.
And given breast implantation surgeries, that this was going to be the way to cure gender dysphoria.
I mean, it seems to have a pretty high clearance rate, right? Because people who are experiencing gender dysphoria, to the point where they're pursuing transition medically, usually, in fact, an overwhelming majority of the time, doing those kind of surgeries alleviate their dysphoria, and they feel more firm in their gender identity. So it's, yeah. I mean, yeah, it's not. He's acting like this is like not an effective way of like ameliorating gender dysphoria when it is.
Or help those kids, and that teaching in widespread fashion across every school in the United States, the idea that boys can become girls and girls can become boys.
That is not happening.
Was going to be the solution here. That is such cultic nonsense, rooted
That's
in
also not what a cult means.
A Gnostic belief that there's a complete soul-body duality. Like you're a boy living in a girl's body, as though there is the you and then there is the body, and these are two completely separate things, right?
He has no bearing on the concept of depersonalization, like at all, it seems like. There were plenty of people, and it's actually interesting, the medical research surrounding this, but like some studies suggest that if people who are transgender, or based upon the evidence I've seen at least, a lot of it can be attributed to their fetal development. If it's pretty complicated, but I'll try to explain the best I can. Basically, when you're developing as a fetus, your chromosomes will determine what hormones are released from the brain. And this, in turn, will dictate the production of testosterone or estrogen. Those hormones there contribute to the development of your gonads. And in this whole process where it's taking place, your brain is also becoming either masculinized or feminized. Sometimes with people who are transgender, if you're, say, for example, let's take somebody who is a female, so they have two X chromosomes. They could, now of course this will tell the body to produce estrogen, and that estrogen will be used in part to develop the gonad area or genitalia, whatever. But sometimes not enough estrogen is produced for whatever reason, and although this can result in still the development of genitalia, it can also influence the brain chemistry as far as hormones are concerned. Trans men usually don't see a lot of estrogen development, and consequently, down the time, I mean, there is a correlation between that process or the release of these hormones and the brain chemistry. Trans women don't necessarily see as much testosterone in their fetal development, and while it still develops their genitalia, it could influence their brain chemistry. So I may be describing some things inaccurately, but I think broadly that is the thing I'd like to elucidate here. So there is interesting like medical research into this that I think Ben is not taking into account. But yeah.
In sort of a Cartesian fashion. Now, all of this is cultic garbage, but it became science, and then it was actually enacted on
So notice the framing here. It became science. Well, technically everything becomes something because more research is conducted and further developments are made with regards to either sociology, biology, fill in whatever study you want to look at. I mean, for God's sake, that's the entire premise behind scientific advancement. I mean, a very long time ago, researchers believed the dinosaurs went extinct because they became retarded. I'm not even exaggerating either. Like, that's actually a theory that was posited to the scientific community. They felt as though the development of dinosaur brains became smaller and smaller to the point where they just died out. And eventually, because of evidence that was gathered, we determined that the dinosaurs really became extinct because of an asteroid or a meteor. So this is just basic scientific advancement. So but the way in which he's framing it here is that it became science as if it was like written down in a smoke-filled room by lefties or Jews to indoctrinate children or something. That's kind of like the implication here.
Bodies of children on the bodies of minors, and now to celebrate it. And if you refuse to go along with this, then you are destroyed career-wise. People yell at you. Every college.
Have you ever noticed the formula that conservatives play off of? It's always like this. I've noticed this a lot. It's always like it's always framed in this way, kind of. It's like they say something that like was created, like they describe an issue in a very like hyperbolic way, and then they follow it up by saying, and if you don't do this, you are scorned by society and you are legislated out of existence and you are like discriminated against. It's like a two-pronged approach here. It's like describe the situation very dishonestly and then follow it up by fear-mongering. I don't know, that's just an interesting like thing I've kind of recently identified.
A student must be forced to pay fealty to this cult, which is why when you enter a college orientation, the first thing they do is they now ask you your pronouns. You have to demonstrate that you have skin in the game for this cult.
What? Asking for somebody's pronouns is just basic human respect? It's nothing to do with, like, it's not like a blood, like, admission to the cult. It's just like, what are your pronouns?
The consequences over the next few years are going to become very, very clear. We've already seen skyrocketing rates of mental illness. We have extraordinarily social...
Well, the increases of mental illness can be attributed probably to capitalism, more so than the acceptance of trans people, if I were to guess.
Contagious rates of trans and queer identification. That has nothing to do with biology. That has everything to do with social contagion, and everyone knows it.
Social contagion is a Nazi talking point. It relies on the premise of degeneracy. So anytime you hear that, that's where it comes from.
But if you say that publicly, people get very, very angry at you.
There it is. Describe something in a very hyperbolic way or in a very bad way, and then followed up by saying what he just said here.
To do with social contagion, and everyone knows it. But if you say that publicly, people get very, very angry at you.
So there it is. There's the follow-up. Describe something, again, describe something dishonestly or hyperbolically, and then followed up with the fear-mongering. He just did that right there.
And the cult demands that you then be punished for your great sins. This is why I don't think Joe Biden's going to be able to escape all this stuff. I think Joe Biden is going to want to talk about the John Edwards to America stuff in 2024.
Dude, if conservatives keep hammering home the anti-trans shit and go and placating to the culture war politics, they are going to get, like, ass fucked in, like, every election, I think. Because at the end of the day, Americans care about economics. And a majority of the country is liberal, so like this messaging just won't be as effective, I think.
I don't think he's going to be able to. I think he's going to be on a debate stage, and somebody's going to ask him, do you believe that boys can become girls? And he's...
That's probably not going to be asked, but if it is, then the based answer would just be yes, and then move on.
He's going to have to answer yes. Somebody's going to ask him, how many genders are there? And he's going to have to answer infinite.
I mean, yeah, he's not wrong. Oh my god. And also, who cares? Even if he answers yes to these questions, it doesn't really function as a political liability, in my opinion. He won't, though. He won't say those things. But yeah, even if he did, I mean, I don't care. I don't care. Why would I care? As a voter, I literally don't care.
Because otherwise, his own base will go after him. And then he'll say that it's unsympathetic or cruel to children to not allow them to mutilate their bodies. Or for society.
In other words, it's cruel to children to not allow them to pursue gender transition under the consultation of several physicians, including endocrinologists, therapists, physicians, and parents.
Not to go along with their delusions, and instead to either watchfully wait or to try to inform them more properly, which is what any normal society would do, that in fact, your mental condition, the solution to that is not to chop body parts off or mutilate your body.
That is never happening. I shouldn't say it's never, but it's largely not happening with children. GRS is largely restricted to under the age of 18. So again, placating to this fear that, like, this thing that really just doesn't happen.
But Joe Biden will be forced to answer those sorts of questions.
I highly doubt that.
Right now, the bill is already coming due. According to the UK Daily Mail, a St. Louis transgender treatment clinic is now under investigation for allegedly harming up to 600 children after a whistleblower claimed parents were bullied into allowing kids to take irreversible hormone drugs.
So based upon the language used in the article he's reading, I'm not inclined to take it at its face value, because it seems editorialized, the way that, like, the article he's reading.
And undergo gender transitioning surgeries. Jamie Reed, that's the person we discussed yesterday, that former employee at the Washington University Transgender Center at the St. Louis Children's Hospital, told the Free Press the clinic administered a litany of irreparable treatments to minors, oftentimes without parental consent. Reed claims doctors would act transition, which again is a cultic behavior. And if you want to
That's not what a cult means. God, this guy's so fucking stupid, dude.
Parents into going ahead with gender transitions, which again is a cultic behavior. And if you want to indoctrinate people in the cult, you say, would you like your kid to be happy in the cult, or would you like your kid to be suicidal?
So suicidal ideation goes dramatically down if somebody who is gender dysphoric is affirmed in their gender. And that affirmation can manifest with hormone therapy or with gender reassignment surgery. Usually gender reassignment surgery is not conducted on children. But suicidal ideation dramatically goes down if they're affirmed in their gender.
Now, in reality, suicide rates among teenagers are skyrocketing. They have been for a while, and they're going to get worse. So you would assume that with, quote-unquote, more trans acceptance, that would go down. That is not actually what is happening.
Well, it's not just that they're being accepted. It's that they feel affirmed in their gender. That can take place if people are accepting, but there's still bigots like you, Ben, who are out there who are making their lives miserable, and there are policies being proposed across the country trying to ban gender-affirming care. The suicide rate goes down dramatically if somebody is affirmed in their gender identity.
Instead, the reverse is happening, again, because we are actively indoctrinating our children into a cult of gender dysphoria.
Actually, the reverse is happening because conservatives are mass targeting trans people through legislation to ban any form of gender affirmation.
Dysmorphia and gender dysphoria. The whistleblower told the Free Press that working at the center was, quote, like I was in a cult, and I had to
By the way, whistleblowers, I don't trust this at all, because a whistleblower has anonymity, or they're anonymous with their identity. So, and even if you can trace back to who this whistleblower actually is, it could reveal the fact that they actually are conservative, so they're just making shit up. I just cannot accept this as reliable. So think about what's happening here. Ben Shapiro, who is a known transphobe and a conservative, is reading a conservative article, presumably, that cites a whistleblower whose identity is anonymous, saying all the bad shit that's happening at a gender clinic. Yeah, I'm sorry, but this is 3 degrees of unreliability as far as I'm concerned. I cannot trust this as a source.
Program my way out of it. Reed alleged in a sworn affidavit that the hospital openly lied about not performing sex transitioning surgeries on minors, claiming that one doctor, Dr. Allison Snyder Warwick, performed one at the hospital in the last few years. Missouri Attorney General Andrew prized as disturbing in the health of children. So she said, I don't want to be pregnant, so they gave her testosterone. This whistleblower says there was no need for this girl to be prescribed cross-sex hormones. What she needed was basic sex education and maybe contraception. But because the doctors automatically prescribe cross-sex hormones or puberty blockers for kids, meeting the bare minimum criteria, this girl is unnecessarily placed on drugs that cause irreversible change to the body. She alleged in another instance...
Wait, hold on. It's not irreversible. Cross-sex hormones can be reversed. And yeah, I mean, it depends also on how long they're on those hormones too. But it doesn't sound like this person was on them that long.
Patient asked for their breasts to be removed and was given the surgery at St. Louis Children's Hospital. But weeks later, the woman asked for them to be put back on. But by the way, you see this sort of language used by the trans cult. They'll say things like, well, we can stop puberty, we can always restart it, no problem. We can remove your breasts and then we can rebuild your breasts if you change your mind. That is not the way any of this works, guys.
Wait. Does he understand that puberty blockers are reversible?
But the entire Democratic Party will be forced to perform acts of fealty to this cult, which is why Joe Biden is not going to be able to escape that track. This whistleblower...
This is a really bad political analysis, too. Yeah, I just don't I don't think that's accurate at all.
Said children come into the clinic using pronouns of inanimate objects like mushroom, rock, or helicopter. Children come into the clinic saying they want hormones because they do not want to be gay. Children come in changing their identities on a day-to-day basis. Children come in under clear pressure by a parent to identify in a way...
Under clear pressure by a parent. Okay, dude, yeah. I bet that's totally happening on a large scale. 100%.
Consistent with the child's actual identity. Yes, I mean, this is a major aspect here, is that because this cult has gone global, and because it is media pushed and media celebrated, because of all of this, parents are now essentially engaging in Munchausen syndrome by proxy. They're transing their own kids, claiming that they are doing something virtuous for their kids, that they can pat themselves on the back. It is not a coincidence that the rates of transgender identification are sky high in places like Los Angeles and New York and San Francisco.
Well, that's because those places are more liberal then, and therefore more accepting of trans identities. Yeah, wait, what?
And they are minuscule in conservative areas of the country. That is not because of the evils of conservative areas. It's because of the social contagion fostered by the adults in these other arenas.
Again, just repeating Nazi talking points. I don't know. He's done it like multiple times in this video. Sometimes I just overlook it because I don't feel like belaboring it too much, but like he just keeps doing it, so I don't know.
So it'll be fascinating to see how Democrats try to navigate this particular gap between the blue-collar base that Joe Biden so desperately wants to seek and the radical gender base and race base that they have cultivated up till now. I'm not sure that gap is...
Well, with how retarded the online left is, I'm sure that many of them are going to vote third party, so I don't think that there is much meandering to take place between that gap between blue-collar workers and the gender ideology people or whatever. Alright, I'm bored too. That video was basically over anyway. Alright, cool. Is there anything else? Any purple-haired leftists can't handle red-pilled Asian American? I don't know. I don't really feel like watching that either. Alright, whatever. We're on 3 hours here. I think we're pretty good on content.
Write me a rap song about...
Quite a bit of content here. Oh gosh, yeah, I know. Alright. Any final memes we got here? I feel like I got everything I wanted to talk about done. Oh yeah, I saw this. This is kind of what I was referring to earlier with like the stream. Yeah, Girlfriend Reviews. Who's apparently a more progressive voice in gaming. Was trying to stream Hogwarts Legacy, but their audience was accusing them of being a TERF and attacking them and all that shit. Yeah. If cis allies, quote unquote, experience a fragment of what trans people go through just for existing, it would destroy them utterly. I swear to God. I've received death threats from numerous times. Hey guys, you remember, like, how, like, people, like, you remember, like, how, like, some of these people who are streaming the game were also trying to raise money for trans charities? So, a net, you, like, benefit for the community. And they want to virtue signal and, like, score purity points over, like, not playing a video game. Because it's associated through, like, through proxy with a transphobe. Like, I think this might be actually, like, bigoted. Like, a bigoted mindset here. Or maybe, okay, perhaps not a bigoted mindset, but I believe that this is, like, the same logic that reactionaries tend to employ themselves. Because it's relying on the presupposition that by virtue of your identity, you are like less qualified to discuss the plight of trans issues because you're cisgender. Yeah, I feel like this is like a reactionary logic. Wait, what? I've seen through it all, too. I just personally think it's silly to think a video game is what our biggest issue is. I agree with this sentiment. It's the biggest one in the public eye at the moment. It is the biggest issue when there's bills being proposed? No. But not buying a wizard game when you call yourself an ally is the easiest thing to do, and yet here we are. So, again, this, like, literally is the most retarded thing to, like, get upset about. If somebody wants to play a video game out of their own volition, then that's fine. Even if the video game was created by... well, not created by, but associated through proxy by a transphobe. Also, the person who was streaming this game was also raising money for the Trevor Project, which would have been a benefit to the trans community, but they got harassed so viciously that they had to like stop streaming, or they couldn't stream it as effectively. And it's also deterred others from raising money for from streaming the game itself. I don't condone the harassment, but holding them accountable for funding a horrible person will get us further in screaming matches. Well, girlfriend reviews while still funding J.K. was doing charity stream for the Trevor Project. It still shows they care. Yeah. They could have done any other game and they still raised money. They didn't need to play the wizard game to choose the same result. This is completely and utterly brain dead. Oh my god, I'm so fucking annoyed by this argument here. It's the most dumb shit I've ever fucking seen. People... So, okay, hold on. So, I'm sorry, I have to take a moment to, like, reflect on how bad this is. So, Hogwarts Legacy is a very popular game. It always was going to be, and a boycott was never going to work in, like, a million years. Utilizing the platform as a streamer to play this game that is very popular right now to raise money for trans issues is a good thing. It will always be a good thing. Playing any other game would not have generated the amount of traffic to your stream than if you had played this game that is very popular and highly trending right now. Holy shit. Oh my god. I can't believe that there are people in the trans community who think that this is a bad strategy to employ. This is like one of the best ways to raise money and awareness for your cause, to play a game that is highly popular right now, in spite of the fact that you are trying to boycott it, and using that to... again, raise money and awareness for the Trevor Project. Holy shit. How fucking brain... This is why the left always fucking loses, dude. I swear to God. Conservatives will have no shame whatsoever. They'll do anything they can to, like, pass harmful policies. They will, even if they take optics losses with that, okay? They'll do fucking everything to eradicate the existence of trans people. But there are dumb fucks online like this who think that any, like... playing a game for, like, they want to abstain from playing this game all for purity, okay? To garner social capital. That's the only thing they fucking care about. They don't see the forest through the trees. They just think, well, J.K. Rowling associated with Harry Potter, therefore buying Harry Potter equals bad. It's like the logic of a fucking child. Holy shit. Wait, the massive flaws and self-centering of their own allyship of some people has been exhausting. So many of them just talking actual transphobia at the moment there's any outside pressure. Wait, what? so many of them just start talking actual transphobia. Who? The streamer? The streamer, from my understanding, is not transphobic, so this is an irrelevant point to make. Like Lamau, no. I don't want you in my corner, and I think if you think what we face is bullying. What? Okay, I don't know. This person is, like, schizophrenic. I don't know why people are targeting girlfriend reviews in particular. A lot of the others, yeah, I know. Okay. Literally was hate rated the other day just for being trans while streaming D&D. That's fucked up. Yeah, I agree. That should not happen. The difference is that I didn't let it affect me because it isn't even the worst thing that's happened to me for being trans. I'd like to see a lot of these people just try to be trans for a week. Dude, it's like a social club. Oh my fucking god. Jesus Christ. Why are they treating this like a social club? I think there is a lot of utilitarian benefit that can take place with streaming Hogwarts Legacy while raising money for trans charities. I think that that's good and objectively good and always will be good. But instead, they want to fucking virtue signal over being trans and the plight that the trans community experiences by boycotting a game that was, like, the most massively marketed game that I've seen in recent history. Literally an international release, and is garnering more and more attention the more outrage these people have with this game specifically. Cis people buckle at the slightest inconvenience and is sad. I'm just thankful. Oh, so this is kind of like, this might actually be like as reactionary as like transphobes, for sure. I don't have enough of a platform to get a lot of online harassment that I am make liberal use of the black button. Okay, whatever. People act like content creators can't recover after receiving the backlash, including these content creators themselves, but it's possible for them to say that they didn't know and won't amplify it any further. This is irrelevant. It doesn't matter if they can recover from the backlash. What the backlash from a subset of a community, that's not really important here. Yeah, this is what I'm talking about. This game is like literally, it's like one of the most popular games right now, like in the gaming community. Like a boycott will never it was destined to fail. It was never going to work. The only reason why people are like outraged over this is because they want to like garner social capital online with other trans people or the trans community itself. Important to note that they purposely don't show that chat. From what I could find, it's definitely mild pushback. Wait, is that? She said it's mild pushback. I don't believe that. Unless I see it, I'm not inclined to believe that. Because if somebody's like literally crying, then I don't know. Yeah, guys, don't play Harry Potter because of J.K. Rowling. You shouldn't play it because it just sucks. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, I'm done with this. I was gonna end stream, but I got triggered a little bit. Okay, so that's that for today. God, I gotta go to the bathroom tonight. I will be live again next week, I think. Should be. Maybe I'll tinker with the stream setup next time. I don't know what I'm gonna exactly change, if I change anything, but yeah, that's it. Hope you guys have a great day, and I'll see you